warm-up team. He's in the north of England at the classic Premier League ground of Elland Road. It's a place that has a lot of history about it, doesn't it, Kyle?
It does indeed. This place here is steeped in history. I mean, we're high up in the East Stand. The pitch is looking absolutely immaculate right now. It has done over the years, since 1919, when Leeds United moved here into Elland Road. And over those years, plenty of fans, thousands of fans, have been here to see some incredible nights. And hopefully, they'll see some incredible results this season as well. One of those fans that is here this season, Connor McGilligan from the One Leeds Fan Channel. Connor, so good to have you here. What a week it's been for Leeds. But before we get into this season, I want to talk about your fan channel, all right? Because last season, how much fun was it? Come on, be honest. Documenting Leeds United week in, week out, talking about it for that first season back in the Premier League over 16 years.
Yeah, to be honest, Carl, it was unbelievable. I mean, back in the Premier League, back in the big time, 16 years. And, you know, making content about your club, it's a dream anyway, it really is. But doing it when Leeds are winning is magnificent. And results against Arsenal, Manchester City, Man United, Liverpool, makes it all worthwhile, mate. It's your passion and your hobby, and when Leeds United are winning, it makes it all better. It
definitely does. What a season it was as well. You mentioned some of those huge results right there. Be honest, though, before you got back into the Premier League, did you believe? Did you know that you'd be back in the top flight one day?
Yeah, I think as the years went on, it became tougher to believe in that reality. But Marcelo always has this fanciful thinking of us dreaming, and we all did. We all bought into it as a fan base, and we all backed him. We backed the players as well. And yeah, I think we did as soon as he came in and he started changing the style of play, brought players in, his backroom staff, the whole ethos of Elland Road changed. Leeds United as a club changed. And yeah, I think we all got behind Bielsa and the regime at that point, yeah, definitely.
And what a moment it was. You come into the Premier League, you're winning all of these games, and you weren't afraid to be quite vocal about your thoughts and feelings, as were a lot of the other fans as well. Talk to me then, what was the general feeling amongst fans last season?
Yeah, it was, I mean, for a 9th place finish, Carl, for a newly promoted team, it's an unbelievable effort. Not just by the players on the pitch, but the staff, the manager, and you know, to go to these big clubs and get the victories like we did it was incredible. And we thought to ourselves this season, you know, we're going to step on. And I think as a club we will. I think we're in the Premier League now. I think we'll stay in the Premier League. And yeah, I think the dream became a reality, and the fans came together online, which was always amazing to see as well. And I think we brought that into the stadium this year. You can definitely hear it. Fans being back, and I think yeah, that those sort of 18 months being away has sort of built into this incredible atmosphere at Elland Road.
Then we had a great summer of football. We come back, it's the new season. Calvin Phillips is on the highest he's ever been playing for England. The season starts, but it's been a bit of a different season, this one, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, it has. I mean, it was always going to be tough. I think the first season was, you know, it was, as we said, it was impeccable, and I don't think we're ever going to keep those you know, that level up, because it was. The level that we set was just it was very difficult to maintain. So I think there's always going to be a little bit of a drop off, but I think, and you know, we've still got a lot of the season to go, and I think you've got to bear that in mind as a Leeds United fan. You know, we've got a second half of the season to come, and I think we're definitely we've been through tough times under Marcelo Bielsa, and with this current ownership, we've been through tough times, and we've come through it with resolve. And I think that's going to happen again. I really do. I fully believe in that. So yeah, it's not been the ideal start, but you know, we believe in what's going on here, and I think we're going to turn it around.
And if one man can turn it around, you mentioned him there, the manager, Marcelo Bielsa.
Yeah, I can't really think of many more superlatives to use around him, to be honest, Kyle. He's brought such a good feeling back to this place, and with the cohort of players that we have now, they all believe in him, they'll die for him as well, and that's what we love. That's what we love as Leeds United fans. You know, we work hard all week to come to the stadium and see those players absolutely, you know, as I just said, die for the manager, and they do that, and we believe in it, and Marcelo Bielsa is the man to lead this club forward 100%.
Right, let's pause the chat just there, because we're high up in the East Stand, as I said, but we're actually outside the Legends Lounge, and I spy with my little eye a legend from Leeds United has just arrived. So I'm going to grab him, ask him for a favour, and I'll come back to you guys with him a little bit later.
Ooh, see, I'm thinking when he said Leeds legend, I'm thinking Brian Dean.
Really?
Yeah, good mate of mine. Good mate of mine, Dino.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Don't give it away, Carl. Don't give it. Am I close? Am I close? Oh, he's not saying anything.
He's not saying anything.
Who are you thinking, Lee? Lee, who are you thinking?
I'm thinking Eddie Gray when he said Leeds legend. Eddie Gray? Eddie Gray?
Don't tell him.
You don't want to know, though, do you?
Gary
No.
Kelly. Gary Kelly. Gary
So
Kelly.
many legends
Well,
there.
we'll keep guessing.
Is it Gary
and we'll
Kelly?
Be back with
Is
you.
it Gary Kelly?
This is
Alan Smith.
Which
I
one?
don't know.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? Carl, thank you very much. We'll catch up with you.
It's like a new quiz you just invented.
Oh, wow.
a
Don't
new
talk
quiz.
about the quiz now.
Better than our old one.
Well, I think we can also agree that there are a few things to sort out at Arsenal. And up next for them is a trip to Leeds, where Carl Walker is for us today. And they have big problems of their own as well, Carl, don't they?
Lots of problems, people are saying. Second syndrome season. They're talking about the manager. They're talking about the players. There's obviously injuries as well. So let's dissect it. Let's break it down. I hinted before that I'm here outside the Legends Lounge. I spotted the legend. I pulled him out. You guys were guessing. You all got it wrong. It is the legend and former Leeds United striker, Jermaine Beckford.
Can't believe they got it wrong.
I mean, that was them. That wasn't me. We've also got Conor McGilligan from the One Leeds Fan Channel as well. Guys, let's break down this season. Obviously, a huge result going against you earlier on this week, but some of the bigger problems at Leeds. I mean, Jermaine, what would you say actually is this season?
It's inconsistencies with fitness, you know, with players being out injured constantly, consistently, and they're key players as well in key areas. So you have to look at Patrick Bamford first and foremost. Calvin Phillips has been out for a number of games. You've got Liam Cooper, Robin Koch, Luke Ayling, just to name a few of the core players, the key players from this team that have been missing through injuries. And they're not short-term injuries, they're long-term as well. And that ultimately does affect what happens on the field.
And Conor, I mean, as a fan, when you're in the stands, it must be so frustrating because you know what Leeds United are capable of, you know what the players are capable of, but if you can't use them, if they're out, if they're injured, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I think it's about, you know, Bielsa's trying to build something here, right? And that's what we've been trying to do over 2 years. And the summer was huge in bringing certain acquisitions in, Junior Firpo, Daniel James. So doing that, you know, going into this season, we were expecting to see more of them, weren't we? And I think naturally with the amount of injuries we've had and the amount of long-term injuries we've had, that affecting any team in the Premier League would be detrimental.
Now, it did go from bad to worse on Tuesday night. We've got to talk about it against Manchester City, 7-0.
Yeah.
Jermaine, I mean, how do you even sum that up?
Do you know what? That's one of those games you literally have to take it into isolation. It's an isolated incident, we're going to call it. Man City were absolutely breathtaking. They were fantastic when we were watching them play. Leeds, on the other hand, we weren't quite up to pace. So I think, you know, when you've got somebody that is flying high against a team that's low and lacking on confidence, ultimately you're gonna see a result as we did see. But Man City are. Let's take nothing away from Manchester City. They could turn anybody over on their day. So I'm just thankful it was only 7.
Now, Marcelo Bielsa, the manager, he did say it's the worst performance I've ever seen. Conor, was it? Why was it? Do you agree with Marcelo there?
Yeah, I think so. I think by our own standards, it wasn't at the level that we normally set. But, you know, I mean, Jack Grealish was worth more than the entire starting 11 that we fielded. So I think we've got to put it into context as well. But yeah, it was a bad night. It was a really bad night. It was a tough night as a fan to watch. But you've also got to appreciate the opposition. I think naturally as fans we will go and criticise the team quite a lot. But you have got to give plaudits to Manchester City and how good they actually were.
Now, we talk about Marcelo Bielsa, we talk about how bad it was. You could see on his face just how bad it actually was at full time when the camera panned to him. He just stood there almost in disbelief, Jermaine.
Genuinely, you took the words out of my mouth. It was probably the most shocking performance I think we've seen as Leeds United fans since Bielsa's come in. And it's so difficult to put into words exactly how that came about. Obviously, we touched on the injuries beforehand. There's 4 very difficult games back-to-back as well. You look at the Chelsea game, we were very unlucky not to have come away with a point. Manchester City, you know, that happened. Arsenal coming up and Liverpool as well. So you look at those games and maybe a little bit of that was playing in the minds as well. You know, performance-wise has to be right, regardless of whether or not the results come in. But, you know, I think it was just a matter of everything that we've been working on during the week hasn't quite come to fruition, and he doesn't quite understand why.
Now, I know we're in the East Stand. I might whisper this next question.
Be careful what comes out your mouth
Does
next.
some of the blame lie at Marcelo Bielsa's feet? Has he got to take responsibility for it, Conor?
I mean, in any 7-0 hiding, I think the manager has naturally got to take some responsibility, and I think he has. I think you've got to front it, and that's exactly what he did. And I think that's the main thing. And you know, the players will know that, Marcelo will know that himself, and I fully believe on the training ground this week they'll have been. I mean, it'll have been rigorous, won't it?
Final question, just to you guys, with all the injuries, Connor, it's to you. What about Jermaine Beckford? Should we get him up top? Do you need him back there?
You've got a contract there for me.
What do you say, Connor? You up for that?
He played for free. He's got the